Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON Srila Prabhupada ki Om Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Paramahansa Ashoka Shishivat Bhakti-Vedanta Saraswati Maharaj Thakur ki Nata Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Acharya Haridas Thakur ki Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopala Shyama Giri Govardhana ki Akurdama ki Madhikmadama ki Vrindavandama ki Puri Jagannath Swami ki Yamuna Mai Ganga Mai ki Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Vrinda Devi ki Anna Sankirtan Yagya ki ISKCON Ljubljana ki Gaur Pranande Gaur Samukri Bhaktanam All glories to Second Devotees All glories to Second Devotees Glories to Shri Guru Gauranga Glories to Shri
Hare Krishna. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giri Vardhani. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giri Vardhani. Jaya Suranandana Bhaja Janaranjanaya Yasodanandana Bhaja Janaranjanaya Yamuna Tira Havan Shahija Yamuna Tira Havan Shahaji Yamuna Hidaya Adhan Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Hidaya Radhan Madhava Kunja Bihari Gaur Bimanande Hari Hari Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Rishabh. Remind me later. Something to talk about. Okay, so srimad-bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 5, the meeting of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, texts 21, 22, and 23. So we'll do 21. Tam drisva Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tam drisva sahat sautaya. Put the verse up. Okay. Tam drisva sahasotaya Deha pranam ivagatam Prita priyatamam durbhyam Sasvaye prema vivalaha Tam drisva sahasotaya Deha pranam ivagatam Prita priyatam ham durbhyam Sasvaye prema vivala Tam drisva sahasotaya Deha pranam ivagatam Prita priyatam ham durbhyam Sasvaye prema vivalaha. Yeah. Ladies. Practice your Sanskrit. It's a little choppy. If you practice, you get it. And if you chant the Sanskrit mantras perfectly, you get transcendental realizations. These mantras are powerful. That's why when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we can actually associate with Krishna. So all the mantras, the Vedic mantras, especially the verses, actually bring about a certain consciousness. So if we chant these mantras according to how they're supposed to be chanted, then you actually get a very powerful experience from these mantras. It's not just saying some words. Mantra is everything, actually. It's actually called Shastra. Shastra means mantras are actually powerful weapons that bring about spiritual understanding, spiritual realization, and they can also be used as weapons to kill the enemy. Mantras are very powerful, especially the mantras in the Vedic, in the srimad-bhagavatam. So it's important we chant these according to how they're supposed to be chanted. Because if you say something different, you can create a different meaning. And that's what happened when there was one chanting of the mantras to create a demon to kill Indra. He chanted the mantra wrong. Instead of a long A, he did a short A, and he got a demon that was killed by Indra instead of the opposite. So the mantras, when they're pronounced clearly and exactly, they have a very powerful meaning and effect. So, just like when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, hare-rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Not Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare-ramo, Ramo. You don't get it. It's not. There's no Ramo. It's Rama. Sometimes we chant Rama. So, so chanting the mantras according to how they're supposed to be chanted is a very important point of actually developing the proper consciousness and getting the effects of the chanting also. So practice, and because we used to do that, just practice chanting mantras all day, just verses from the scriptures, just read the whole Bhagavad Gita and just chant the mantras. And then actually it becomes you can actually feel the transcendental energy appearing through the chanting of the mantra. Very powerful. Okay. Tam him Vasudeva Drisva Sing Sahasa suddenly Utaya getting up Deha the same body Pranam life Eva as if Agatam had returned Prita so pleased Priyatamam his dear friend and brother Durbhyam by his two arms Sasvajay embraced Prema Vivalaha overwhelmed with love and affection. So here's the meeting of Vasudeva and Nanda. When Nanda Maharaj had heard that Vasudeva had come, he was overwhelmed with love and affection, being as pleased as if his body had regained its life. Seeing Vasudeva suddenly present, he got up and embraced him with both arms. Nanda Maharaj was older than Vasudeva, therefore Nanda Maharaj embraced him, and Vasudeva offered him namaskara. Now here's also a very important principle, that when two people come and there is some affection, it is the senior one that offers the embrace and not the junior. Sometimes it's done wrong in our society. The junior one will want to offer the embrace. So that is not the proper etiquette. It's the senior one that comes and gives. Bhakti-Joga Swami was very enthusiastic to embrace his godbrothers all the time. But we would never go up and embrace him. When he came to embrace, then accepting him as senior, then we would, respond to his embracing. Now this is proper etiquette, not that junior can go up and embrace the seniors like that. So we have to know this etiquette, because Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. How one practices the principles actually brings about the understanding of the spiritual culture. There's a way of doing things. So here, that's why Prabhupada only gives one line, 2 lines. He says, Nanda Maharaj was older than Vasudeva, therefore sometimes when 2 people are spiritually equal, then the older one is considered senior by age. Age is considered seniority, but spirituality is considered to be the supreme principle of seniority. Just like when Sukadeva Goswami appeared into the assembly of sages, although he was only 16 years old, everyone rose to greet him because they knew he was most senior spiritual, although he was younger. But when people are equal on the spiritual level, then it's the older person, one who is older in age, is considered to be senior. So. Okay? It's very helpful to know all these things, because we're practicing spirituality, and there's a culture that allows spirituality to grow nicely, and so we follow the culture. We get a lot of the understanding of the process, and we avoid fences too. Okay, verse number 22. Pujita sukham asina prisvanamayam adritaham prasakta di swamajayor idamaha visampate. O Maharaj Parikshit, having thus been received and welcomed by Nanda Maharaj with honor, Vasudeva sat down very peacefully and inquired about his own 2 sons because of the intense love for them. Verse 23. Dvisvabartu pravayasaham idanim aprajasyate prajayasaya nivrittasya prajaya samapadyata. Translation. My dear brother, Nanda Maharaj, at an advanced age you had no sons at all, and you were hopeless of having one. Therefore, that you now have a son is a sign of great fortune. Purport. Here's some more interesting little points. At an advanced age, one generally cannot beget a male child. At an advanced age, one generally cannot beget a male child. If by chance one does beget a child at this age, the child is generally female. Thus Vasudeva indirectly asked Nanda Maharaj whether he had actually begotten a male child or a female child. Vasudeva knew that Yasoda had given birth to a female child whom he had stolen and replaced with the male child. This was a great mystery, and Vasudeva wanted to determine whether this mystery was already known to Nanda Maharaj. On inquiring, however, he was confident that the mystery of Krishna's birth and his being placed in the care of Yasoda and still hidden was still hidden. There was no danger, since Kamsa at least could not learn what had already happened. Om Gyan Timidandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadammayam Dadanti Swam Padantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shri Bhakti Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhisya Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, yeah, Vasudeva was a little concerned that Nanda Maharaj had known that his wife gave birth to a female child, but he didn't know. Actually, the actual story is, and it's quite interesting, that when Krishna was born, he was born in two places at once. He appeared in two places. In the jail cell of Vasudeva and in the house of Nanda Maharaj. But no one could see Krishna as he appeared in the house of Nanda Maharaj. All they could see was a female child. But Yasoda actually had two children, both Krishna and Subhadra. But only the female child could be seen and not the male child. So when Vasudeva, trying to protect Krishna from Kamsa, arranged for him to get out of the jail, and that was a mystical experience, how all the guards fell asleep, all the chains fell off, and all the gates of the jail opened up. Vasudeva was easily able to sneak Krishna out of the jail in the middle of the night, cross the Jamuna River, and come all the way to Vrindavan, and then come to the house where Yasoda was, take Vasudeva Krishna, the Krishna that had appeared in the jail, and place it where Yasoda had given birth to a female child. He picked up the female child and left. Nobody saw anything. Everyone was asleep. But Krishna was also there, but unseen in his unmanifested form as Vrindavan Krishna, the two-handed form of Krishna. So when Vasudeva put the four-handed form of Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna in Mathura, both Krishnas merged into one and became Vrindavan Krishna. And that's the actual understanding. Some scriptures don't make that point, but Bhagavatam does, to understand that Krishna actually took birth in Vrindavan also. And so, and now they want to understand whether Nanda Maharaj had known this. And obviously, when Vasudeva inquired about that, and he said, that you have a son is a great fortune. Nanda Maharaj didn't know that his wife gave birth to a female child. And so this was good was thinking that the child born to Devaki in jail was female. And after trying to kill her, which he wasn't able to do because she is the spiritual energy, she's Krishna's sister, she's Yoga Maya, she's powerful, then he became somewhat repentant and started apologizing to Devaki for killing all of her children. Of course, when the demons get defeated, sometimes they become a little humble, at least in this case, but didn't last for long. He went back to his demon nature after a few minutes. But somehow or other, the whole situation changed by Narada Muni coming and informing Kamsa that that child that you tried to kill is born somewhere else. So this, and therefore, Narada Muni wanted to speed up the appearance of Krishna in the world by saying that. And of course, then by Kamsa's spies, he understood that Krishna was actually living in Vrindavan, and that's when all of those demons were coming. You know, it was Putana, Sakatasura, Trinavarta, Agasura, Bakasura, you know, Keshi, Vyomasura, Aristasura. So many asuras were coming to Vrindavan to try to kill Krishna. But it's obvious you can't kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He kills everybody, nobody can kill him. He kills the non-devotees in the form of time, and he elevates the devotees by taking them out of their body and bringing them to the spiritual world. So Krishna is the actual person who nullifies all of people's material existence, either in the form of time or directly with the devotees in the form of bringing them back to the spiritual world. So no one can, but Krishna is, so the demons tried to kill Krishna in so many ways. And, but this was disturbing Krishna. Although the demons would come and sometimes Krishna would play with them, and, you know, like when Trinavarta came, Trinavarta was flying, he was the whirlwind demon, he came, and Krishna was sitting on the lap of his mother Yasoda, and then he understood this demon was coming, so he became very heavy. And his mother couldn't understand, boy, this child is becoming so heavy. She couldn't hold him anymore, so she put him down. And that was Krishna's plan. And then when the whirlwind demon came, he could pick up Krishna. And Krishna wanted to go for a ride. You know, he wanted to fly through the air, you know, and have some fun. So, you know, there was this demon who was, you know, self-styled airplane. And he was just riding around, and he was grabbing Krishna and trying to take him away. And he was going to try to kill Krishna. But Krishna was holding on really tight. He had his seatbelt on. And the demon couldn't do anything. You know, Krishna had gotten a first-class seat on the airplane. And he was, you know, he didn't want to leave. So he was flying around, and Krishna was having fun. And then this demon couldn't get him. He wanted to throw him down on the ground and smash him. That was his plan. And then, but Krishna thought, you know, all right, enough riding around. So then he became so heavy that the demon couldn't hold him anymore. And the demon came crashing down to the ground, smashed against the rock, and he was finished. Jai. Devotees like that when demons get killed, right? There's a class of people who engage in Krishna's pastimes, and they just like to hear about Krishna's dancing with the gopis in Vrindavan. But they don't like to hear about Krishna's killing demons, because they think, you know, what's this killing business? It's more like, but Krishna kills the demons in order to free them from their demoniac activities and liberate them and bring them out of their material suffering. So he's actually giving them the benefit by removing their And so Krishna has fun killing demons, but Krishna was getting a little disturbed when some demons were coming and harassing his devotees. And when the devotees were getting harassed by the demons, then Krishna was getting a little unhappy. And so then he arranged for Kamsa, because Krishna controls everything. So he arranged for Kamsa to send Akrura to Vrindavan to bring him out of Vrindavan and bring him to Mathura. So Krishna could kill Kamsa, and that way he could stop all these demons from coming into Vrindavan. But that didn't work either. Somehow Krishna did come to Mathura, killed Kamsa, but the demons were still coming, and there were other demons at that time. They were more like demoniac soldiers. Before, they were these mystical demons that could transform their form. And that's a fact. Their demons have great power because they perform austerity. By performing austerity, one gets power. Even in Krishna consciousness, if you the more austerities you perform, the more powerful you can become. Not necessarily Krishna conscious, but powerful, And if you can use that power to serve Krishna, then that's benefit. So austerities bring power, just like people in the material world. When they want to get elected to some post, they will give up all of their activity and focus completely on getting votes, traveling around, eating, not even eating regularly, meeting people all the time. They perform these personal austerities in order to somehow or other get their position. And they deny themselves their own personal satisfaction and enjoyment in order to get their positions. So austerity brings power. And so these demons had performed so many great austerities that they could actually change their form. There was even not recently, this happened about 70 years ago. Yeah, about 70, maybe 60 years ago. One particular politician in America died. And they wouldn't let anybody see his body. As soon as he died, they took his body away and put a closed casket. Because he changed back to his demon form when he died. Really. Yeah, that's a fact. Some people, that news somehow leaked out. And so there are demons, even in today's world, who have the ability to change their form. They come from other planets, they look like human beings, they take positions in society, and then they control politics through their demoniac policies. So demons can even change their forms even now to some degree, because many of these demons are coming from other planets. And the ones that are grown on this planet, they're not very powerful. They're just wearing suit and tie, and they just give people trouble. So yeah, demons are everywhere. In fact, Prabhupada said in 1972, he said it again many times after that, he said, Kali Yuga, the demons are only going to increase. He said the devotees are going to have more trouble, but don't worry, Krishna will save you. Just take shelter of Krishna. He saved Devaki, he saved Prahlad Maharaj. Therefore, he will save the devotees, because the whole world is full with demons. We can't even recognize them. They look like nice guys. They give in charity. They also, look very handsome looking. I mean, Ravana was so handsome. He had so many wives. He was very, very physically attractive, Ravana. So demons can even look very nice. They also behave very nice in public, but behind the scenes they may be something else. So that's a demon. Anyway, so Krishna paritranayam sadhunam vinasanaya chaduskritam dharma samstarpanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Vinashanaya chaduskritam So Krishna comes to this world to purify the world by eliminating the demons. So sometimes the devotees ask, well, where's Krishna now? There is so many demons. And Prabhupada said, he's here. You just chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And Kali Kale Namarupa Krishna Avatar. And Krishna is incarnated in this age as his holy name. So he is manifested in his form as the holy name, which are meant to destroy the demonic population and bring about an age of spiritual enlightenment. That is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So we should try to chant as much as possible. Prabhupada said 16 rounds. We give you 16 rounds because that's all you can do. But he made it easy. When Prabhupada first started the movement, he said 64 rounds a day. That was his first declaration. But the devotees at that time protested that they couldn't do it. It was too much. Jai Sri Sri Panchatattva Ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada said, all right, 32 rounds. And then there was more protest. This was the early day. We don't have time, Prabhupada. How are we going to do everything else? Prabhupada said, all right, 16, no less. So he gave us the bottom line, but he used to say, he said, 16 rounds on beads, innumerable rounds off the beads. In other words, chant always. Whatever you're doing, you can also chant Hare Krishna. Because chanting the holy name means you actually are on the transcendental platform. You're free from the influence of the material energy, and you're actually connected with the process of devotional service in a very real way. So if we make that policy of chanting as much as possible, practice that, and it doesn't come easy, because to chant all the time is something that comes by way of spiritual advancement, but one can practice to chant more and more. And the whole idea, which is the essence of spiritual life, it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, that out of all of the regulative principles, there are 64 regulative principles. You read the Nectar Devotion, goes a whole list of things to do, things not to do. Just like, I don't know, things to do is take prasad. Things not to do is don't eat food that is not offered to the Lord. Things to do is to, there's so many things to do. Every day hear srimad-bhagavatam. Things not to do is, don't waste time. When there's so many do's and don'ts in deity worship also. How to do deity worship properly. Just like, one should not talk loudly before the deity. One should not chastise another person before the deity. These are just some principles of rules and regulations. One should always sit properly before the deity, like this. Or if you have to sit in the chair, that's nice too. But sit straight when you sit in the chair. Because, we're presenting ourselves before the Lord. He's there in the form of the deity. So we should, it's not like, we're just like hanging out, So sitting up properly is important. Sitting cross-legged, if you're on the floor, that's important. Or the way she's sitting, that's nice also. That's acceptable. Yeah, so different ways that there's do's and don'ts. But out of all of the do's and don'ts, there are two principles that are prominent. And one's a do, and one's a don't. Then the do is always remember Krishna, and the don't is never forget Krishna. So we have to remember Krishna, and we have to remember not to forget Krishna. That's all. By practicing that, you're on the transcendental platform automatically, because remembering Krishna means you're on the spiritual platform. You're connected with Krishna. Krishna is there through smaranam. That's why when we shravanam, hearing, kirtanam, chanting, and if when one's hearing and chanting are continuous, then smaranam becomes easy, natural. But we can't go right to smartam if we're not doing shravanam and kirtanam. It's difficult to go right to the process of smartam. We have to hear more and more and chant the glories of the Lord. That's why we have these classes, we have kirtans, we have various functions, so we can chant the glories of the Lord. By chanting the glories of the Lord, we can also make our own program to chant the glories of the Lord individually. Then it's easier and easier to remember the Lord. And when you remember the Lord, then that's perfection. That's perfection. And when you remember Him with love, then that is the supreme, ultimate perfection, or the goal. Okay, so these are some points to think about. So the holy name is actually the foundation by which all of our advancement in Krishna consciousness is executed. So therefore, that's why we emphasize, above all of the other activities, 2 points that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to make sure that devotees understand the process, but the process is also understood in various ways, and the essence of the process is to chant Hare Krishna and to associate with and serve Vaishnavas. These 2 things are the foundation by which everything else follows nicely. Chanting the holy names, Vaishnav Seva, and Vaishnav association, like that. And then we can add one more, Jivadoya. And Jivadoya means preaching, or giving the mercy to others. Okay, any questions, comments? Yes. Hare Krishna. Do we have a microphone for the... Oh, it's already gone. We're microphoneless. Yeah, okay, I'll repeat your question because nobody on the scene can hear you. Huh?
What we do when our parents are like that?
When your parents are demons? We don't kill them, no, that's not the idea. Try to change them by giving them Krishna consciousness, giving them some prasadam.
I tried a lot of action, but my mother don't want it because I spoke with other people and one of them said me some very delicate things about her and she's against bhakti-yoga, so I have fights around the last year maybe, and she don't know that I'm happy because I'm a big boy, big guy, so I don't have to say what I said I go to Ljubljana, and she's totally against it. She's also afraid because I have Narasimha there for my altar.
And she has a what?
Narasimha,
You have Narasimha on your altar at the house.
yes, and she saw it, put it like this on top, on the bottom, and in the corner. I said, why you do that? I come to you to visit and I change your whole environment. You'll be happy? Don't do that again. Now it's a little bit so, it's very delicate. What I have to do, I can't change her.
No, it's practically impossible. There are some cases where parents do change, but it takes a long time. And depending on the parent, some of them are, don't believe in God, or some of them are very strict Christians and they think that this is, she's a strict Christian, right?
No, she's
Atheist? Yeah, well, do you talk to her? If you can talk to her?
I talk, but when I visit her and put on kirtan, she gets nervous, so I have to drop it down and go to
I mean, you talk logically like, if you say there's no God, but then how does the sun rise at the same time, the moon, how does the body work in such an organized way? Who created all this? So it's no logic. Huh? Well, usually with the atheists, we can't do anything. But I mean, we have, there's situations, I know one disciple of mine, she's aspiring for me, and her husband was really a demon. I mean, he was a first-class demon. He was the best of all demons from Croatia. And one day, when his wife came into the temple, and she brought her daughter with her at the Sunday feast. He came so angry, he came running into the temple with his shoes on and grabbed the daughter and ran out. I think you were there that night, yeah. So I saw the whole thing. Well, we didn't want to create any problems, so we just let him go. But after some time, the relationship fell apart, and So you can try to help your mother by giving her prasadam. Prasadam is food. You can say this is some nice food that, I don't know how, if you say it's coming from a temple, that's a problem too. Tell her you can say one of my friends in Ljubljana made some nice food and he wants to give it to you. So here, you can say something like that. Because if they take prasadam, they gradually actually change, go slowly. It may take a long time. There was also one lady also in Croatia. So a lot of demons there. Her father was first class. We used to call him Haranikashi-pu. So, but she would sneak and give him prasadam every once in a while, and sometimes he ate it, sometimes he didn't. So yeah, it's not an easy thing. So you can just pray for her like that. Be nice to her. It's still your mother, Yeah. Well, yeah. But if you don't have to live there, it's better for you. Oh, okay. Oh, she's in Germany. Oh, okay. Well, then you're okay now. Yeah. Yeah, Krishna will protect you. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, what can you do? You can't really. They say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can't change a person who doesn't want to change. Yeah. So then. Just pray for her, that's all you can do. Anyway, but you go on, as you make advancement spiritually, she'll get some benefit. She may not know it. It's called a gyata sukriti. It means unknowingly making advancement. She'll get some mercy from the Lord because she has a son who is a devotee. When people are connected to devotees, either through family relationships or other means, those persons, although they're not devotees, they get benefit also. So your spiritual advancement will also allow Krishna to give her more and more mercy. like that. Yeah. I mean, we have so many examples of that. There are hundreds of experiences with devotees around the world with parents. And sometimes they change, sometimes they become favorable, and sometimes they never change. What can you do? It's just the way the material life is. Yes, question?
Yes, Maharaj, how do we, who or in which way does you determine a spiritual, who is like more spiritual advanced between two persons?
That's not always easy. As one work by Narahari Sakar, he gives a little indication of how to make that distinction. I have that pamphlet. You can read it, but I can't remember what he said. By experience, you have to know, and by the advice of others also. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can't understand, because sometimes the pot washer in the kitchen is the supreme personality in the temple. It doesn't depend on what position you have. It depends on what is the purification of the heart. So sometimes we have even persons who have a very small, we can't use the word small, but a service that is not preaching, they're just doing other service. They may be the most advanced in the area. You can't tell. But you can tell by their symptoms, how they're absorbed in service, how they're very eager to serve others. And these are indications of an advanced devotee. How much they're absorbed in service, how much they're eager to serve others, and how much they don't waste time with material things. These are indications of people who are more fixed in Krishna consciousness, more advanced. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Just one question. A
A
few years ago there was an article on Dhandas.com.
few years ago there was?
An article.
Article.
Yeah. On this social media, Dhandas.com, there is a...
Social media article.
The ISKCON, Dhandas.com.
Of ISKCON.
There's an article on Dandavats.
Yeah. So the article was that there was a devotee and his parents were not into Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
But not they. So the devotee was living in Vrindavan, he stayed there for a long time. And then the devotee was from Europe. So then he flies to Europe because his father was in hospital and was going to leave the body.
And his father was what?
Was in the hospital, was going to leave the body.
So he...
And so when it was mentioned in the article that the father was like, was doing simple activities.
He wasn't an atheist.
I'm not sure. But yeah, he just mentioned that he was doing simple activities all his life, meeting things and others. So it was mentioned the experience that the devotee had when he was sitting next to his father, and he also took his daughter with him. So both of them, what experience they had when they were sitting next to the father.
They were doing what to the father? Sitting. Yeah. I can't hear. I can hear you, but I can't make out the words somehow. If you. Yeah.
Okay, so he was sitting next to his father when he was going to leave the body. So the father was actually seeing the Yamdutas. It was mentioned in the Nandas because he was so afraid. And he said, oh my gosh, who are these people? They have come with the rope and they're going to take me. And he was, really fighting back with that, although he was on the deathbed. So I'm just wondering about this whole situation, because obviously we are
So the Yamadutas only come for people who are sinful.
Yeah. So, but I'm just trying to connect this point, this statement, with this example that if a devotee delivers or gets, or the family members get some benefit
Yeah.
from his Krishna consciousness, then obviously each individual also it depends on what they have done throughout their life.
Yeah, there's some benefit there, but you can't. Sometimes you can't see. We had that same example. One very senior devotee in our movement. His father was a hunter. He was a very, to use a term, he was macho. You know what macho is? Tough guy. So he had all kinds of guns and stuff, and he would do hunting. And so he was sick, and then when at one point he was leaving the body, and while he was dying, he called out to his wife, "Bring my gun," as he could see these guys coming to get him. So he was thinking he could shoot the Yamadutas, you know. But that's not possible. So yeah, there are, and there was one devotee. He was in the hospital in where was it? Was in also in Croatia. The reason why demons attack Croatia a lot because is that everybody's Kshatriyas there, and so they like to attack where the Kshatriyas. And the Sringalila can write a book about her experiences. She's had so many fighting off demons. So, yeah, the demons are everywhere. But when a devotee is sinful, or a person is sinful, they have to see Yamaraj somehow. So how Krishna's mercy comes to that person who is a relative of a devotee is hard to always understand. But maybe they have to go through this suffering of all of their reactions of their sinful activities, and then come back and get a good body in their next life. Usually they don't get a good body in their next life, they go down. So maybe because of being connected with a devotee, I think that's the answer. They'll get a good situation in their next life. But they have to suffer. Because sinful activities have to go somewhere. People either have to pay for them or they have to be absolved by the power of devotional service. And if they're not absolved by the power of devotional service, then people have to undergo the suffering that that these sinful activities bring. So yeah, they may have to go to Yamaraj, get the sinful reactions burnt off by the form of punishment, and then come back and be in a good situation in their next life. As opposed to a non-devotee who has no connection with it, suffers, goes to Yamaraj, gets all this sinful, and then takes birth as a rat in the next life or something, or maybe a very bad birth in their next life. So I think the good birth is the benefit that they get from that, because these sinful activities have to be nullified some form. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is one more question. So this happened in my own family. Like my grandma, she passed away like I think 8-9 years ago.
Come a little closer. Yeah, your voice is more like a song, and I can't hear all of the notes.
So there's one. My grandma passed away like I guess 8-9 years ago.
8-9 years ago.
Yeah, and she was a very pious lady. Like I know she never ate meat. She followed 4 regulated principles all her life, and she was from a religion. But the only thing is that she never did any puja. Like she didn't have any altar or anything. But other than that, she followed all the regulated principles. So in that
Right.
sense, she was very pious.
Right.
But I do know that when she was going to leave the body, she was around like 98 years old. So before leaving the body, like 2 weeks ago, she started seeing things. And then around saying, just see some ladies are crying outside her room.
Somebody was outside crying?
Her room, and she said that they are crying, and obviously we couldn't see, but she was seeing, she told us in the morning. And then after a few days again, she's like, oh, a man, very ugly man came on the bull. Just see who is he, you know, and she just started seeing these things.
Yeah.
But we understood that what she's seeing, you know. And then, you know, all of a sudden she got sick, and then she just left the body. So for me, it was till today I couldn't understand how it can be, because okay, she didn't do any, you know, puja or something like that. But you know, if we see from one point, then she was actually pious.
Yeah, she'll get. She's very pious.
But she never never.
Yeah, she's pious, but because she's pious, she'll get a good birth in her next life. Suchinam samatam gehe yoga brasta pradayate. That when accumulation of pious activities brings about a very auspicious birth in the next life. So she'll be born in another pious family or in a very rich family, either one. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't understand, like, she was pious, but then how come a pious person is seeing Yamadutas or they, you know?
She was seeing Yamadutas too?
Yeah, that's how she described, you know. That somebody came on the bull and horrible things. So, I mean, I didn't see...
Maybe, you never know. Can you actually say that she never did anything wrong in her whole life? You can't see that even in her early part of her life. But the only way you can get rid of your reactions to pious activities and sinful activities is by devotional service. Otherwise, you have to go through that. Karma builds up, and then it comes in the form of reactions in different ways. But devotees are free from karma because they perform devotional service. So only by devotional service can you nullify the reactions of your karma. If you don't do any devotional service, then you have to get the reactions of your karma, good and bad. King Nirga, he was a very pious king. He was giving in charity to the brahmanas, but somehow he did some fault in performing charity. And he had to suffer for that fault because he offended a Brahmin. So when it came for time for death, when he died, he was requested, do you want the results of your pious activities first, or do you want your results of your impious activities? And he said impious, so then he took birth as a lizard. He was a pious king, never performed any sinful activities, except that he didn't make offense against a Brahmin, accidentally actually. So whatever your grandmother did, there might have been something there that causes her to get some reaction for something negative. Because living in the material world, you can't help but performing sinful activities. And if you step on ants, you have to pay for that. If you're breathing germs, you have to pay for that. You're killing living entities. But if you're a devotee, then you're free from that. So that's why devotional service nullifies all previous karma and present activities too. So just living in the material world, you have to perform sinful activities. It's just automatic. It may not be severe, but still. And unless you atone for that, then that reaction comes at one point in life. Or maybe at the time of death. It'll come at one point or another. The example is King Nirga. That's the perfect example. Very pious king. But one offense to one brahmana, and that was all, and then he had to take birth as a lizard. But Krishna pulled him out of the well, and then he came back, and then he got the mercy of Krishna because he was such a pious king, and but he had made that one mistake. But he didn't atone for that mistake. So pious activities do not nullify impious activities. They don't. Only Krishna consciousness nullifies. You know, everyone's accountable for whatever they do in the material world. That's why even now devotees are still getting some of the results of their karma, but they're getting it in a small way. A small way. Prabhupada said, you are a murderer in a previous life, you came to Krishna consciousness, you're engaged in devotional service, you cut your finger. So the reaction is there, but minimized. But at one point, when you stay in devotional service, and after some time, then there's no more karmic reactions. Because we've been building up karmic reactions for thousands and thousands of lifetimes. So your grandmother may be getting something from her previous life that wasn't cashed in this life. The karma stays there, life after life after life, until you become Krishna conscious. Only then. That's the power of devotional service. It nullifies all, and even pious activities. The results of pious activities are also nullified. Like, you may say you were destined to become rich. And so you came to Krishna consciousness and you didn't get the money. Haribo. Because Krishna didn't want you to go back to the material world. Even the results of pious activities you don't receive. Sometimes you don't. Unless Krishna says, oh, all right, they're going to become rich and they're going to use the money in the right way, so, okay, take it. Prabhupada would say, I was destined to be more wealthier than Birla. Birla was the topmost entrepreneur in India. He was the richest person. Prabhupada said, I was destined to be even more, but when I came to Krishna, Krishna took it all away. But now he says I have more money than Birla anyway. But I'm using it for devotional service. Yeah. 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 Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes.
Sometimes I realize that at the beginning of when I became devotee, I was so fanatic about everything that I see that my fanatism disturbs the faith of others.
You can be fanatic for the right thing. If you're fanatic for the right thing, that's okay. That means I don't want to miss Mangalarti. I want to chant my rounds every day. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to eat anything but Krishna Prasadam. Good fanatic.
But I was doing, for example, the baby was sick, my wife didn't know what to do, she was struggling, I said, I need to chant. So this was the...
Well, you have to be practical too. The baby has to get some care.
So my question is that sometimes it was maybe necessary to not to disturb others with our over
Yeah,
fanatism.
yeah,
This was my question.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That just happened to me yesterday. I got disturbed by a fanatic disciple. But anyway. It was a big one too, so what to do? It happens. But we don't want it to happen. So devotees should be careful not to, that their enthusiasm or their overzealousness, that's a better word, doesn't cause distress or anxiety to others. Yeah. Hmm. Like I was riding a train one time and I had my earphones on and I was chanting, but I didn't know that I was chanting loud and people around me were, and then somebody said, you know, calm down, you know. So yeah, I did, because we have people, we don't want to disturb people, so. Sometimes we disturb them because they need to be disturbed, but that's another thing. But generally we were always respectful to others. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Prabhu ki jai. I just remembered that Mishra, he's been recording all my lectures every year. So maybe you can get that file too.
Sure.
He always gives everybody a hard time when you try to do something with him, but that's just the way he is. But he'll give you a hard time. But anyway, try to get him.
Sure. My mind really made the hardest time, so everything else is a melon.
But yeah, I've been giving classes for 20 years, so there's a lot of recordings. So I think he has them all.
I'll try to make it.
No, wait till I leave, then we'll watch. You gave me what? The Maha. I didn't need it, but I'll use it. I'll use it eventually.
Because I will not put them if you didn't tell me.
You better give me bogus.
Boga, okay.
For the Sunday morning, is there an option? But if you will do Sunday class in the morning, you will do.
Sunday morning?
Conference call. Oh, I also. 7 o'clock.
I'm not sure. Monday's thinking it's That's my last appointment before he leaves. He's leaving.
Oh, you're right. He's leaving.
He's leaving for 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, Germany and India as well.
How about Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, but there are not so many people. But you can. Still, yeah.
Saturday morning. God is here.
Not only one.
He's the one that gives the class.
Ah, that's checkmate. Checkmate. So now we're done.
Yeah, I can go Saturday.
Yeah, sure. Let's start something.
I have a question for you, Nantaji.
Yeah. I have to or not?
You can choose. Do you regularly listen to Radha Swami's lectures?
I have this daily,
Hmm?
you know, daily nectar,
Mm-hmm.
that short, like 5-10 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
that I do. But otherwise, not every day.
Mhm. I have something. Thinking that you could use it.
Oh,
It's all of Radha Swami's lectures
it is a.
on one device.
Oh, really? Oh,
All of it. That's everything that's been recorded since time of the world.
wow. It's like MP3s. And,
It's a little, it looks like a radio,
oh,
and it has buttons on it with numbers, and then each of the lectures are aligned with a certain number. So you just punch in that number, and there's a little that tells you which lecture.
it's online? No.
No, it's
Oh, no, it's
a little
okay. It
device.
doesn't require internet.
No, you just turn it on. It looks like a radio. You turn it on, and you can push the number, and then that lecture will come up. It corresponds with the number.
Sounds temptation.
There's 2,200.
Okay, at the end of the life.
I was thinking if you
Yes.
want it,
If you can miss it,
but don't just leave it on the shelf.
oh, it's too full already. For shelf. So it can be carried.
Carry it around. I have one of Prabhupada. I carry it with me everywhere. They made one of Prabhupada.
And certainly for it.
Yeah, I'll bring it to you.
Thank you.
I'll give it to you. It's nice. And it's also got earphones if you want to use it that way too.
Yes, thank you much
Yeah.
for saving me.
Yeah,
For saving me, you remind me
I'll
sweetly.
send you the bill after.
Yeah. I'll try to. We go to Sankirtan to collect some.
Monthly subscription.
Yes.
It's not going to be too high. I'm only charging $10 per lecture.
Okay, for 2 weeks, Sankirtan. I'm not so good at Sankirtan, so we'll try to find some. some.
I heard, I think you know the treasurer, right?
I will try to bargain, also bargain with the treasurer. Yeah. Also, you push me, I push others. So I'm doing that. Yeah, pushing movement. So now, continue.
Few times.
Krishna.
Yes.
Next topic, Hare Krishna. I have that book.
Yes, sir.
Can you send me this document? You know, because
Which one?
for this visa. It was on Friday and good.
Sure.
Oh, you know, like I for this thesis.
I read it. I did already, so I have some money there.
Yeah.
So just change the date. So Friday, you got a month for the dates? For the dates?
No, I will call it now.
Okay. And wake up then.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah.
say that there is a marathon on, so it's also for them.
They will not adjust according to me, believe me on that. No, but I will be before marathon, I can tell you for sure.
I didn't know that winter time they already, I thought they wake up late.
Yeah, because then you can, nobody will do any direct ceremony or any of
I heard that, but I didn't know when they went to bed. I know they went to sleep sometime after June. But it's just massive. I also probably understand John Master to go to sleep. This is good information. But how they calculate the gentle master and stuff. According to you, this is from the Karash.
Yeah, I think, yeah, because.
But we have
I know, like you can little because even Ekadashi sometimes, like let's say ISKCON is 23, it goes 24. But we follow it.
yeah, but depends also on the locations. Because it's connected with the sound rights. Okay. Every day is a day for learning. Thank you. Samo izvini, prosto. Da ima Maharaj u nedjelju jutro doktora. Možeš to čekirati, to baš.
Da li ima nedjelju?
Nedjelju ima, ali nije znao da li 7, 8 ili kada. Samo da vidimo da li pomoći provjeriti.
Moram njega sad. Ajde, kad saznam od njega danas da ti ja.
Primetko? Tole ti prijemljaš za to ne, upam da ne. To je zlomljeno.
Jaz tako opazim, da ni naravno svež.
To je treba, če koga vidiš, da mora nikoli za to primeti.
Da bomo nekaj zlomljeno.
Pančatatvātmakam Krishnam bhaktarupāsarupakam bhaktavatārvaktikam Vandeham Shrigaram Shriyudapadakamalam Shriguram Vaishnavam Sarajatam Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare-rama, Hare-rama, Ramo Ramo. Ima veze to bi ne malo.
you know this to make on the water back. You don't try with the water already.
Poseben konc sem mogel, da bi bil ne vem, kakšen drbiš, da kakšen dator rezervira, razumeš?
Ima za internet, ne za fizično.
Ne internet, ne. Da kakšen dator lahko rezervira. Ne pa da bi imel stalni prenos, to pa ni šansno.
Kaj je tam po to? Poprski pragos, kaj?
Ja, pa se bom jaz tudi na evoluci, je pa ni. Znaš, kako čem svedeti, zakaj gre vlak, ne gre vlak. Ga pustim tam pol ure. Pogledam, eno ure.
A je skozi se preklapa, pogaša in pol.
Pa pogledam, če je rad ali ni rad.
A se spomniš, še koliko časa so bili modemi? A se spomniš modemu, ne? Ker smo čakali eno sliko, je bilo 5 minut. Slika. Križ. Kakšna evolucija je to bila pa?
Ja, da lahko slikaš. Takle lep venček se ne bi.
To pa vidno.
Ja?
3 slike ti bom naredil.
No.
Pridem tako. Ampak se tam mikrofon bi lahko uporabil, vsem, ki ne slišijo, bom jaz sledil. Zdaj povem mi, kje je.
Ta je vokal.
Aha, vokal. Tam jaz sem. Okay, ja. A gizam prav?
To je tvojka.
A gizam prav pada?
Kaj ne? Tudi sem ti imel.
Je to tako, v tem bil voda.
Ne sem ti imel.
Tam je bil dal. Krishna.
Chaitanya.
Tri bomo rekli.
Chaitanya.
Chaitanya, daj to dobro reči.
To namreč čez.
Zdaj pa eno tako. Muši zgodaj.
Chaitanya.
Chaitanya.
Dobro.
Še ne bi. Sem tam spodaj. mogo imeti lekcije, kaj tu.
Ne, sam njega more.
Ja, ne, samo on ima še online, tako ima.
Njega more enako posebej
Prosim.
revisirati.
Ja. Jaz bi tudi Ananto rad poslušal, dej še ti reči Ananti, jaz sem skozi govoril. Jaz bi tudi Ananto rad poslušal, koliko časa ga že nisem slišal. Dej mu ti reči.
Ček, ne smemo na glas govoriti.
Dej mu še ti daj reči. Jaz mu skozi malo pišem tako, dej mu še ti reči, da bi radi poslušal. Da nam skozi sam jaz govorim. A ta dober